thought I'd start us with a brief review of Beloved. Um, just to catch us up with where we're starting to read. We're going to start reading in chapter 8. And so where we came from. So you may recall we have the two settings in this novel. We have the setting of Sweet Home in Kentucky, and we have the setting of Cincinnati, Ohio. And on Sweet Home, there was Baby Suggs and her son Hallie, Paul D and his two brothers, Paul A and Paul F, and Sixo. When Hallie was able to buy Baby Suggs out of slavery and move her to Cincinnati, then the Garners bought Setha. Setha married Hallie, and Setha and Hallie had 3 children, and she was pregnant with the 4th child when she escaped. So the novel opens in 124 Bluestone Road, which is the house that Setha and Baby Suggs had shared, but now Baby Suggs has died, and Setha is now just there with Denver, the baby that was born while she escaped. But Paul D shows up at 124, and he discovers that Denver and Setha are living there with a ghost, and he runs the ghost out. And he moves in, and one day after returning from the carnival, they find a young woman named Beloved asleep in their front yard. And there are a lot of clues that point to the fact that Beloved is the ghost come back to life at the age she would have been had she lived, the ghost of her daughter. And so we hear the story of Denver's birth, where Amy Denver, the white girl who was an indentured servant, helps Setha deliver this baby. She is pregnant. As she escapes, her back is also cut up from a beating that she received, and she got that beating because school teacher, the man who now is in charge of the plantation at Sweet Home, his nephews milked her. And when she told Mrs. Garner, then they whipped her. So she is beaten and she runs. We also find out that on that day of the escape, Paul D gets caught. He is chained up in the barn with a bit in his mouth and a collar, and we looked at what those look like in class. And Paul D sees Hallie up in the loft in the barn smearing clabber on his face because he saw what they did to his wife and he couldn't stop it, and it broke him. And Setha gets that information. So we start to see all these pieces of the story coming together. Paul D didn't know what had broken Hallie until Setha told him that they stole her milk and then they whipped her. Setha didn't know what happened to Hallie. She figured he had just never shown up. So we start to see kind of all of these pieces lining up with their stories coming together. Denver has lived her whole life kind of locked away in the house at 124. When she was younger, she went out. We learn in this next section that we're reading that she had gotten out and gone to school. But for the most part, she has spent most of her life just sort of locked up in this house with no sense of her past, with no connection to any community. She's just really isolated, both literally and figuratively. So this woman shows up. We understand from lots of cues that she is the ghost, but they don't. And Denver seems to understand that, but nobody else understands that. So I think that gets that quick overview, but I think that gets us set up for where we're going from here, and hopefully that will just kind of jog your memory about what we'd read up till now. Okay,